everybody knows that when you hit a thing, it automatically goes straight through. There's totally no lag or anything on the internet because we all know that Fizz never lags.
I know I should be wary. Still I venture someplace scary. Ghostly haunting, I turn loose.
It's showtime!
That was very rude. I apologize. Hey guys, what's going on? Memes here. And yes, we are now here back to actually do something that may or may not break the multiverse within the chronology of Ren and Stimpy. Isn't that right, Fizz?
Yeah. Breaking
So
the
what are
Ren
we...
and Stimpy's verse.
Yes, in the Stimpyverse. Because as we all know from our childhood history within the Ren and Stimpyverse, or the RNS, or... Okay, we won't even... All I know is at one point I'm going to be going through an actual scientific paper that cited George Lucas and Wikipedia. It was basically calculating the power of the Death Star. Basically, how much power was needed to blow up Alderaan, given that stuff. And I actually went through it. I'm like, wow. See, this is how you get people excited in science. How calculating how much power a super weapon has to destroy your enemies.
Yeah.
That's what that taught me. But I digress to digressing. What's the history we're talking about? Okay, our citation, which I do need to add in the doobly-doo, is from the Space Madness episode, of course, from the Ren and Stimpy show. So how do we start out? We're going to break down the scene, and then we'll get into how this stuff and things may have actually happened. Okay, hypothetically, of course.
Now listen, cadet.
Listen, we need the creepiest music possible that's building up into some suspense, and obviously, if you actually see their ship, it kind of looks like the mystery machine from Scooby-Doo. So, but yes, they're in some giant thing that's protected by a bubble.
We got a job for you. See this button? Don't touch it! It's the history eraser button, you fool!
Now, see, that is something that has been with me for my entire life. I still remember those series of words. It's like, you see this button? The obvious response is, duh, you push the button. It's like, don't touch it! It's the history eraser button, you fool! It's like, I still remember that from being a kid. And then you're just like, you're obviously trying to tempt your end. To be fair, when you go back to chronology, it's about space madness. Ren is basically in the process of eating his bar of soap, which is his delicious ice cream bar he's had since he's a child. So, yeah, it was basically about a mental space breakdown that Ren's having, and then eventually he threatens Stimpy with a toothbrush, and then he obviously starts to use the toothbrush, and then it gets to the point where Stimpy actually has to restrain him, and we made very rude comments about modern generations.
I'm hurting.
Now, we all know that there's nobody out there that all of a sudden, once they experience the thing known as pain, immediately will just black out and drop down because they've never experienced any negative things in their life. I'm not a biologist or psychologist. I'm a random dude on the internet. I apologize a little. Not a huge amount. But, okay, so we get to the history eraser button. Okay, so it's basically just this button that's in the table, and if you push it, it's supposed to erase history. Now, keep in mind, this is from like 96, 98-ish, I think. And I don't think a lot of folks were caring about their browser histories at that point, so it did have a different context. A lot of folks are like, Well,
Let's go
duh.
back and
I need
break
to.
button.
Of course, I need to come clean my browser history. That cache would get too full. It would totally lag me down. It's not about all the weird pornography and everything. I mean, those are contributing factors, at least for me. But the whole. All right, we're setting this up. Number one, where you're not supposed to touch this thing.
The history eraser button, you fool!
So what'll happen?
Let's just eat.
We don't know. Maybe.
Okay. Okay, now you've tempted somebody. It's like, well, what happened? It's like, well, we don't know. Now you create a question in somebody's mind. It's kind of like, as soon as you say, it's like, don't walk on the grass. What do a lot of people want to do? Well, walk on the grass. It's maybe they weren't thinking about it unless it was like a very inconvenient thing. It's like I was not considering walking on this like 6 inches of grass right here. That did never cross my mind. Why were you saying this? Now, if it's kind of a thing and you're supposed to have it like at the golf course or like some reason, it's like don't do that. That makes sense. But other things, it's like, well, that seems kind of random. Why are you doing that? So of course you're going to want to do that. We continue.
Be something bad? Maybe something good? I guess we'll never
The
know.
anime eyes.
Because you're going to guard it. You won't touch it, will you?
just just the way they animated these things back in the day. It's just like it tells you. It's like, yeah, this totally isn't a setup.
Freaking one thing that already causes question, right? Is it is labeled history eraser button. So you would think if somebody asks what will happen, you just say, "But history gets erased." It's the history eraser button. That's kind of why it's called that.
I mean, that's what I would intuit. Welcome, Chairman. Thank you for joining us for an exploration of the history eraser button paradox. Is there a paradox? Fizz believes so. And there are, for particular reasons, that was dealt with a little bit at the end of last show. We'll, no, I'm not going to lie. Trusting, I think at this time, a prepubescent cat to guard the button that may delete all of existence was probably not a smart idea.
Well, it doesn't say existence eraser button. Just says
That's
history
fair.
eraser button.
I thank you for the correction, Fizz.
That's why there's a paradox.
Oh, yes, that was totally. I didn't even see that coming. We continue.
It's not even plugged in anything.
How long can trusty cadet?
It's in the table. I mean, it's kind of like a keyboard, I guess. You can push down, and I don't know what's in there. Like a couple of gerbils. Are they on the thing? Does that
What
like
is its
tell them
power
that they're
source?
on break? And
Because that
I
thing's
don't know,
got to be
hamster
able
on
to.
a
That
wheel?
thing's got to be able to like erase history, and it doesn't even look like you could fit a car battery in there.
Fizz. It's sci-fi and a cartoon that was supposed to be for children, but somehow was probably much more appropriate for MTV.
Well, yeah, but we're already dissecting parts of it. So why are we
That's
discriminating?
fair. Okay, so it would have to be there would have to be some conduit of an extreme energy transfer or some type of field surrounding the Jolly Candy-like button in order for it to generate the power, unless it was able to line things up in a way. It's kind of like the what is it? I can't. That thing where you. The best description I have is Xena's thing, where it's like, all right, here's a pressure point. It's like, all right, I could just pound your face in. I could hit you with a sword, a chakram, yada, yada. I'm going to hit you in this thing, and it deals, like, lots of damage or something like that. It's something extremely... Basically, if you could hit a resonance in a way to cancel out everything else, how you do that, I don't know. You could try to make that claim. Think of it like the brown noise, except for deleting history.
The brown noise.
The brown
Brown note.
history sound. Oh no, that's
Oh no.
yes,
Here's the
Rick.
other
We are
thing.
totally. Go on. I thought that
The
said
other thing,
logging.
because I won't mess with the power source anymore. It just weird stuff
Okay,
bugs
we,
me.
we, we,
But
we assume you have energy or whatever is required to
yeah,
actually erase history.
we're
Okay,
gonna
we're
assume that
setting.
the button does what
We'll
the button
grant them
says.
that you have the ability to do this thing. Assuming we could do this thing, what would be the consequences?
And that's the other thing. He says Brent says nobody knows. Well, somebody made the button, so at least one person
Maybe
would
that's an
know.
educated guess. Maybe they're like, I'm going to create this thing. According to my calculations, this should erase history. Now, the evidence for that, you would actually. Oh. So the evidence to actually prove that, you would need to do the thing. But if you do the thing, how would you have the evidence? Because would the evidence be deleted along with your. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the main paradox right there. That was the main thing that made it a paradox is there's no consequences to Stimpy for Stimpy pushing the button, so it shouldn't be a hard decision to make because nobody will know it was Stimpy that pushed the button because that fact will be erased. So he doesn't need to freak out in the first place. He can just immediately go, "Sure thing, dude. Button!" and push the button. Because yeah, there's no consequences directly to him.
Because there are no consequences.
Mm.
Or
Yep.
that might not be the right word. Perhaps there would be no other events within our past causal light cone, I think is the way to do that. I was listening to a Professor Turok lecture a little earlier. I came for the cosmology. I got a better understanding of special relativity. I'm like, oh, that makes a lot more sense. Okay, there we go. We continue.
Let Stimpy hold out! How can he possibly resist the diabolical urge to push the button that could erase his very existence? Will his tortured mind give in to its uncontrollable desires?
I just love how you literally have like the Kentucky Derby announcer literally just like narrating Stimpy's like inner thoughts and everything. It's not even his inner thoughts. It's like, here's the generic things that's going on within the script I'm reading there. It's like, are you narrating or are you getting involved there? Because occasionally that would happen with the Dragon Ball Z announcer. Every once in a while they have a little joke or something there. But it's all right. If you're going to break the fourth wall, I just say do it tastefully. Or be Deadpool.
Can he withstand the temptation to push the button that even now beckons him ever closer? Will he succumb to the maddening urge to eradicate history at the mere push of a single button?
Okay, so these are the parts where I'm like, okay, I understand narrating the thing. It's like you're literally standing a dude man's back and bonking him in the noggin with your butt. These are the things where I'm like, I'm questioning why this is on Nickelodeon here. Then again, maybe it makes more sense now.
Well, it
We
did get
continue to
bought
have
by
your thoughts.
MTV later.
Who? Was it AT&T or?
Ren and Stimpy got bought by MTV.
Oh, MTV,
later,
yeah.
because even Nickelodeon was like, you know what, this show.
Well, I'm just like, here's the thing. A lot of times the kids like stuff, and it's like, oh, a lot of times the parents will complain. I just remember, I'm like, yeah, my parents didn't like Tom and Jerry, mostly because like it had a lot of violence, usually against cats, and my parents really like cats, so I feel like a lot of that was it. But I'm like, some of the stuff that would be in Ren and Stimpy, I'm like, isn't this the kid network that's for kids? Like that's literally what I was advertising. Nickelodeon, Nick is for kids, and you're like, I am a child. Don't think I should be watching this.
When you're a kid going, is this for kids?
WTF, mate? Yes. Is this is for kids? Like I'm all right with this being a thing. I just it's like, well, where it was on Nickelodeon. It's like, here's some slime. Here, have some delicious used cat litter. Oh. And that's when we learned that Mr. Horse did not like it. Why? Oh, no, it's not. It's in my other browser history. Well, we have to finish with our butt bouncing.
Button! The beautiful, shiny button! The jolly, candy-like button!
Now, I understand this is a really good example of peer pressure, in my opinion. Because I was going to say, it's like, it might not always be as blatant in those forms. A lot of the times it can feel that way. Rick, the first rule about the history eraser button, we don't talk about that.
Nobody remembers the history eraser button.
What?
So the first thing about history eraser button is nobody remembers history eraser button.
Well, I think the answer is obvious.
Tune in next week as...
So at
the
least
button's
according to
still there.
that, we have... Okay, hold on. Wait. Let's...
Tune in next week.
Wait. Okay, so at approximately... Alright. 3:21, he pushes the button. Assuming this is real time and not a Dragon Ball 5 minutes on Namek being destroyed. Let's see how long it takes. 1,
Tune in next
2,
week as...
3, 4. So approximately 4 seconds for the zapping effect to happen, and okay, so approximately 5 seconds. That actually makes a lot of sense. For them to vanish and to poof into dust. And then when we continue on, it takes it to perpetuate. Alright, total of 10 seconds for it to take out the actual reality on their banners. So, about
What's weird is it should
5
have taken
seconds.
out it should have taken out itself too.
Okay, now... Is this where we get into the paradox from the reality eraser button to just the history? Because maybe the actual background of that verse or wherever they're existing right now, literally, it's the Ren and Stimpy verse. So it's the Ren and Stimpy verse. They just happen to have erased themselves from that particular part of the Ren and Stimpy versus Ren and Stimpy.
Yeah, but the creation of the button would have never happened if history was erased too, because that's part of history in the Ren and Stimpy verse.
What if the button has always been there?
Ooh.
I
Prehistoric
think we just branched
button.
into another. What if the button is a prime element of reality? It's just okay. We've granted them. You have the ability to erase history. All right. Somehow you have the energy. You have the ability to generate some form of harmonic to nullify the history. We did not grant them the ability to destroy everything. We did not say that. We are simply deleting history. So,
I guess
history?
everything that was considered prehistoric, would still. Well, except for stuff that dies. Except for stuff that dies because it dies.
Well, there's still energy records of it. No, but Fizz, that whatever happens, if that gets said creature gets eaten by another creature, they perish, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. We all return to the Earth's crust. Yada yada yada. It's stuff like that, even though it's not exactly true. Basically, if we're going to go through that particular exercise. To be all right, basically energy ends up being conserved because you might go into some other form, this, that, or the other thing, but there's going to be at least energy or information. It's that whole physics thing. It's all right, I throw a book into the fire, the book burns. You probably shouldn't burn books unless you're about to freeze. Just an opinion, but if you're going to go through that. The physics idea is, all right, you take all that ash, all that dust. If you were to measure all the exact amounts of stuff and things that were in that book that was burned, you could reconstruct the book. Because science. if you're going to do that, it's like there would be some record. Now, you might not be in a corporal meat suit or something like that. Maybe, I don't know, you're in the cosmos. Maybe you're in a neutron star right now. Maybe you're in frickin', I don't know, some sperm whale's belly. I don't know. These things happen. It's like the circle of life, or this. It should be a cycle, because I think it cycles. Again, that's an opinion. But, this. Yes, there are a lot of realities. So, what do we consider history? This. You have
Oh,
histories.
okay. If we go literal, then history would just be documented events, uh, specifically like mankind's documented events would be history. But if we go technically, it would be everything that happened in the past.
I mean, that sounds about right. It's also the way you describe that is, you're like, well, it's a series of events. That's also basically the kind of, at least, and again, I'm not a professionally trained physicist. That's how physicists basically view reality. Or at
Yeah,
least many.
that led up to
It's literally a
what we're
series of
doing
events.
right now. Yeah,
It's okay to describe everything. What do we know? It's a series of events. It's like,
lots of them end up
okay,
being unfortunate.
hey, we're not all lemony snicket here. It may be occasionally a series of unfortunate events. Sometimes it's a series of happy occurrences. These things happen. Perhaps perspectives may vary there. But, okay. So if it's a series of events, and we're going to keep a lock, see, I kind of view it as like, oh, maybe that really was what it was. It's kind of like you got your browser history. All right. Your history is literally all the stuff and things you've come into different causal contact with, clicked on here, viewed on this. You just have your massive log of all the internet. All right. Well, to be fair, if you did never clear it, occasionally things do lag. Maybe, just maybe, in some realm, we should occasionally clear the history.
Yeah, that's history and confined to a specific I'm trying to find the right word, but it is
Well,
not
to be
all
fair, at least there's Yearn in me. Or at least right before this show there was.
history. That's what I'm saying. It's history within the confines of like a time limit, sort of like you erase your browser history, then it's only your browser. What your browser has documented you doing. Because if you use incognito mode, you don't even have to worry about that.
Well, I mean, there's also the I mean, at that point, if we're gonna go with what Rick was saying, history is history. I don't know. For some reason, my mind just goes to, okay, how do I conceptualize that? I go around the thing. I come back the thing. I repeat the thing. That's the simplest thing that I can have. What do? You plop a point. You take a string, and you poke your finger on the ground, and you go, whoosh, and you get a circle. All points are equally distant.
And everybody does like to say that
Because
history repeats itself. So what if there was a history deleter button, and we were taking like if we were doing the broadest term of history being every event that led up to present, then the entire universe would just keep having a do-over at a certain point.
Say more.
Assuming it stops erasing history once all of history stops existing. The button would still stop existing too, though, technically. But then, you would have a blank, depending on how, you believe, how a person believes the universe, started having shit in it, you would go back to having no shit in it, I guess, pre stuff happening, and then all the stuff would have to happen all over again. Maybe it happens immediately, maybe it doesn't, but it happens all over again, and maybe it happens a little differently this time, but eventually some crazy person still invents a history eraser button at some point, and some other person gets bullied into pushing it, and we start all over again. What if in this dimension,
Congrats.
this is like the third time, probably more than that, considering how old the Earth is supposed to be. Wow. Yeah. So this is like the who knows amount of time that humans have gotten to this point right now. Maybe y'all have, as a species, have already done this before. You guys just haven't gotten to the point where somebody made a history eraser button to make y'all start all over again from zero.
Congratulations, Fizz. I think you just invented the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics.
I'm awesome. I don't even know what the fuck that is.
I think you literally just kind of, maybe not quite, but more or less, at least for a celestial wolf girl that's been around for not that long around here and learned from the internet and playing video games. Yeah, you kind of invented the Schrodinger equation. Oh yeah, it was that equation with like the cat that's supposed to be dead or alive or sleeping. Oh, maybe you could do like a wolf girl in there. Oh my god, that's what
Wolf
we
in
can
the
do
box.
for maybe next week or something. Yes, the wolf in the box. Has she eaten the tasty snacks or do they still exist? Nobody knows until we check.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think I know the answer to that one, but I mean, I'm biased, so.
Yeah, I feel like so. I like the multiple dimensions for every possible outcome happening at the same time theory. So, if the history or a history eraser button was being pushed repeatedly, maybe that's what freaking created a new dimension every time. Because like wibbly wobbly timey wimey shit, you got to factor in there too.
Well, ultimately, as far as I know, because I think one of the things that Professor Carroll, basically what he says is, to my do it on the internet understanding, is when you follow the Schrodinger equation, every time you have like some observation, there's like a wave collapse. What does that mean? All right, there was a particular event. So basically, the claim is essentially the universe as we know it splits into two different universes. And then let's say in this universe, you got pepperoni. In this one, you got cheese. All right, on your pizza. It's like that's the only difference. Up until that point, everything else is the same. You just happen to make this decision and you happen to make the other because an infinite number of potential things could potentially happen. But in this case, it was like, all right, left or right, pepperoni, cheese. Okay, you made a decision. At some point, there's another universe where after you ordered pepperoni, of course, there's in that universe got cheese. Okay. Now, if you were to, and again, maybe this doesn't make sense, but if you were to have some deletion event, whether it's like the bouncing cosmology or I'm biased, I have some other thoughts might what be going on, at some point there may exist that exact right. Everything up until that exact moment happens the exact same way, except the Fizz in that universe orders cheese.
Ooh.
And occasionally in some universes that Fizz might be a dragon.
Ah!
Well, it's not the most a very random time to bring out the thing that you won for me. I named her Fizz D.
Fizz
She's a
D.
dragon.
Fizz D's nuts.
Oh, going to hell. But maybe not in every single existence, hopefully. But I just think it's interesting that I'm like, all right, because just even having this thought experiment, I'm going through. I'm like, well, what could that mean? I'm like, oh, okay, I'll view it as a browser. It's a computational thing. Computation seems to be able to. I don't know. It seems universal in a way. That's interesting. Number one. But I'm like, all right, so if I actually viewed it in that rudimentary way, it's like, all right, you got a bunch of stuff there. I'm like, Well, to be fair, I mean, you would probably need some mechanism, kind of. If you were to view whatever our universe as we know it as a browser, I'm like, well, now, okay, that also leads to the question: would you need updates? But at that point, it's like, well, where is the update coming from? Are we generating the updates, or are we receiving input? And at that point, you're like, oh my god, Tom Campbell's totally right. We must be in a video game. Um,
The
I don't know
simulation.
this. It, it makes a lot of sense, and his also, I don't know, maybe it's his ASMR like voice that's very buttery and stuff like that. He doesn't go
But
around screaming at people and like starting all these fights and stuff like that. And that's refreshing. It's like actually like, and again, that doesn't always happen. Maybe it's just a reflection upon parts of the internet that I come from, which I've come from some very dark parts of the internet, but that's okay. We all right. So there could be a potential. Maybe the history eraser button needs to be pushed. And at that point, if you were to go through all that iteration where you end up having uh, humanity in the exact same way it was, the Ren and Stimpy show in the exact same state that it was, and obviously at some point someone else creates, or the same person, which was technically a different person, but to a quote unquote God's eye observer outside the system like us, if we're just viewing
in
it like on our
incognito
TV.
mode.
Yes.
That's the
Yes, and
higher
we're
power. The higher power is browsing in incognito mode, but can see everybody else's browser histories.
oh my god, is that what dark matter is?
There we
Just
go.
a whole bunch of people in incognito mode, just surrounding the galaxy, peering and be like, what are those silly humans doing this week? They got that Jersey Shore, and God, they seem to take it to heart. We might be, maybe we're just one of the best dumpster fires in the entire universe.
Oh, definitely, it got to be entertaining. Entertaining to the Celestials. So I mean,
We should do that for another one of these episodes. It's like the I don't know. I don't think it's really a conspiracy. Well, if you and I are talking about it, it's like, all right, simulation, dark matter, or dark observers. Dun dun dun. Because technically that happened to us when we were in World of Warcraft, and I think after we beat the Four Horsemen, one of the devs was supposedly in there, and we actually did really poorly. Actually, I wonder. They said there was a dev there. I wonder if there were a bunch of people there because we did really poorly. I'm going to assume skill error and not that. All right, this instance right here is for 40 people. Yeah, there's about like 200 people in here now with all the extra devs that are just sitting there watching and stuff like that. I'm sure they have nothing to do with us wiping all night. It was slightly painful, but not as painful as other raids I've been in. It was all relative there. But I'm just thinking okay, I mean, there would need to be a lot of like observers and stuff like that. And then you get into, okay, we'll save that for another one. All right. You had some words. You already had some thoughts on the history eraser button. Fizz, give us your general overview of the history eraser button paradox. Yes, it's taken me 35 minutes to get here, but Fizz, take us away.
I pretty much gave the different paradoxes, but there's something else to point out is that it was called the history eraser button. However, the only thing that got erased were the people. But the proof that the show existed did not get erased. Only the characters did.
Now, well, I'm sorry, I decided to eat some French fries. But is that now? Would that mean that those things are built in, or was more of? See, the way I like to view it, I'm like, all right, if something is core, it's kind of like it's prime. It's kind of like prime numbers. Okay, I swear the mukbangs are.
That's okay. At the very beginning of the show, I was still shoving pizza in my face as fast as I could.
I mean to be fair, we expect nothing less of you kids. I'm very proud. But
Uh,
what I'm saying is, okay, if something is prime, it's basically like a building block. So like the prime numbers, it's like, all right, you can build all the other numbers from them. Why? Because you can. Um, so that mean that spaceship and stuff and things would have been there. Is that almost like the one could make the one might say that it's the observer that does it, because I think there was a little while there within some folks in the scientific community where they're like, well, obviously the collapse of the wave function is because we're observing it. So obviously consciousness plays a role. I don't know whether that's true or not. Maybe it is. But I'm like, all right, if you're going to have an argument like that, well, it's one of those things where it's like, all right, maybe it was only erasing the history of the observers. Does that mean it just deletes all players? Ugh, that sounded terrible.
Oh, goodness.
The delete all players button? Oh my god, they had that in Ready Player One.
Oh, yeah, they did.
Like,
man.
Yeah, like the big super nuke thing where it's like, yeah, it just destroys everybody. Luckily, he had a one-up coin, so that's what you do. You be nice to people, and you get some bonus lives, maybe. I don't know if bonus lives are an actual thing. I would not do it. Yes, I'm wearing a yellow level up T-shirt. I understand that. I would not be so reckless with your life. Just an opinion.
I would.
It is.
Don't trust me.
But you're digital bits and a celestial, and I feel like you could go Wile E. Coyote splat and then just peel yourself back up. Just avoid any very angry looking skinny men that offer you goop. Don't jump in the goop.
No goop. Okay. Got it. What if it smells like candy?
It's not meant for rabbits.
Oh.
I don't think it smells like candy. Yeah.
No.
Didn't well for a shoe, friend.
Yeah. I was about to say, like, no, there's ways I can be deleted as the YouTube friendly version, I guess. Yep. Oh, I was gonna say, if we assume that then the universe, and it only deletes history within the universe that it's in, then we would have to assume that the Ren and Stimpy universe, there were permanent objects that made the universe exist in the first place that don't get to be part of history because there's no explanation as to why they're there. They're just always there.
I think we call that plot armor.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna have to assume that. Yeah, the history eraser button didn't erase the show itself because it had no past history. It just is. So instead, it erased the history of everything within the show, except the settings. So only all of the characters. So all the quote unquote living stuff got erased. And that's it.
So, yeah, I mean, that also brings you to the point, or hold on. I'm sorry, as much of a dumpster fire as Twitter is. Sorry. I saw a reaction from, I think, some physicist from a country I didn't know, and I just got to share this real quick. CERN, a gargantuan discovery. It was 14 hours ago. Throwback Thursday to 1970. Inside the Gargamel bubble chamber. Image 1. On the 19th of July, 1933, the Gargamel group announced that they had found evidence of weak neutral currents. Image 2. The groundbreaking discovery paved the way for a whole bunch of other stuff and things. Gargamels, yes. That's the Gargamel bubble chamber. And of course, my response was, collider led to wizard. And then and I'm just like, oh, it's like, I have no idea who it is. It's just like, oh, something looks like something with physics.
Occasional actor and music, occasional musician.
Oh wow! It's Okay, I try not to die. It's been publicly available, but because I had to look up first, I'm like, when did they create the Smurfs? The Smurfs was in the 80s. This was in 1970. Therefore, Collider, I claim, led to Wizard Gargamel.
Oh, okay, because it had its name first. That could very well be
I'm sure.
somebody like
I think it was a
that
different
would make a really
spelling, but
good
I'm like,
name for this dude.
I'm just like Gargamel, and I'm like, well, to be fair, my claim is I can play the Arthur C. Clarke card and say any significantly advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic.
Yeah.
You just claim technology and just be like, how does it work? Magic. If we don't know what it is, it's basically magic to observers like us. How did that person do this? It's like, how the heck are we remote viewing something on some digital landscape where who even knows where? I think that was in France. These are pictures. We are literally remote viewing from across the world this digital landscape. I'm like, go back
like
200
using magic
years. Tell
items.
people you're going to be doing this. You're going to be a crazy person.
Yeah.
I resemble that.
Well, also, like, even in
Hey, Lug.
fiction, a lot of the times, hi, Lug. A lot of times in fiction, especially now, they don't just hand wave magic anymore. They have systems. Like, the magic works within certain rules, and I'm like, that's basically science right there. Y'all figured out how it worked and are magical now. Like,
To be fair, if you actually go back and again, this is not a dig, I would claim that hand waving still exists because
oh
at
no,
some point you get to some arguments and you literally it's like, well, how do we get something from nothing? And you'll see some of these different scientists and they'll literally be like, from quantum fluctuations. And they'll literally wave their hands like wizards and stuff like that. I'm like, quantum fluctuations. It's like, all right, so if we get hand waving built in, to be fair, nobody fucking knows. I wasn't there and stuff like that. I can conjecture things. It doesn't mean that they're true. I'm just trying to like figure out things to like the best of my understanding that seem to make sense, that seem to cohere within our realm and operating within the rules of whatever game this may or may not be.
Think about this too. So when you think of like magic in terms of like fiction and stuff, sometimes it's produced by drawing a bunch of symbols and chanting a bunch of stuff that sounds like gibberish. Sometimes it's Latin. We like playing with Latin. But so do scientists. They like using Latin a lot. But if you think about that,
There are a lot of Latin characters used. It's just once you get up to like the Greek characters, it's like, all right, Latin, like the Roman. I understand that people can start that, and then once you start adding the Greek letters, it's literally Greek to me.
Yeah. Well, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, it'll look like crazy symbols. A lot of times, they'll make a shape, and the shapes are usually like very equal, very geometric, not just wiggly and stuff. Like they have. So that's the word I was looking for. Yeah, very symmetrical and stuff.
Lack of wiggliness.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The symbols can be wiggly a lot, but a lot of times the shapes used aren't. You take that, and you take if we pretend that both things exist in the same world or something, I don't know, or a different world. Okay, you take somebody from you take a physicist and you drop them in front of this magical person that's chanting all this crazy sounding stuff and doing this and that, and it just looks like whoa, light show. It's freaking weird. You take that magic person and you drop them in front of a physicist that's trying to like explain how something works. It's going to be the same situation. Okay, this dude is on here drawing a bunch of symbols on a board, and speaking a bunch of shit.
He's
I don't
a witch.
understand.
Get him.
Right,
Hey, I think I'm allowed to say that. I apologize to my Wiccan friend. But it's like, I freaking live in Massachusetts and stuff like that, and we literally, like, tried, and took the lives of people because we claimed They were
American
witches.
pastime over there.
Yeah, we did some not so nice stuff, man. I apologize for that. I mean,
Look,
I
I think
wasn't
it's because
around,
everybody
but
was
it's like I
high
gotta still
on
admit it. So, it was a thing.
bad
Acknowledge
brains.
reality.
Yo, yeah, but
Yeah,
no,
we did not do well with mental illness.
freaking yeah. But technically, if you take somebody on the outside of this, that's like, gets both concepts a little bit, they're gonna be like, it's the same picture. I don't see it's the same picture. It's two dudes writing symbols and saying a bunch of big long sounding words. To get end
Wow.
results is
Okay.
usually something. The end results usually something to do with energy. It's like one's doing it in practice, the other one is writing it out in theory about how it would work in practice.
Because you would think wouldn't be able to translate, but actually, a lot of like math problems and stuff before were used with words. And I think one of the complications you had is when you're trying to start doing like different arithmetic, or even like get to the point with it's multiplication. Although to be fair, maybe it should be better called concatenation. Of course, shout out to Casey from the monastery on that. Well, that's the thing. I learn from other people because number one, it's like, do I have the answer? No, I know at least that much. I do not have the answer, but I know there's a lot of other smart folks out there. And if I can go around and talk and learn from other folks, maybe, just maybe, I can help find interesting information that isn't the answer. That would be a very bold thing to say. Like, you have the answer to life, the universe, and everything, and it's 42.
Yep, I was about to say.
I'm willing to entertain that. I mean, that would be fantastical, and maybe it's something close to that. I mean, that would also be awesome. But it's like, I don't know that. But the more and more I talk to people, and maybe not like immediately be like, well, I've never heard any of this stuff before, so therefore you're wrong, and then just go over to something else. It's like, be willing to entertain an idea and stuff like that. I don't know, maybe treat some folks with maybe a modicum of respect or something like that. I don't know. I realize the internet doesn't always reward for that because it's much easier to say, it's like, person we like destroys person we don't like. I'm like, that's just such a very basic algorithm, and it's boring. And I know I'm really good at doing stuff like that, but it just, I don't know. It seems wrong, and I'm also like, I look at the long game. Why? I'm one of those people that got the Lionheart Gunblade on disc 1 of Final Fantasy VIII. Why? Because I'm a freaking crazy person. Then I also played the card minigame that could give you just enough pulse ammo from Disenchantment to actually, you don't usually get until like disc 3 or so like that, but there's a very short, brief period of time you could do that. And then I never finished the game because the game became far too easy mode. Because it's like, I can destroy most everything so damn easily. Too many powers, too many magnitudes of power creep. And kind of like Skyrim, once you get, Fizz does not like the power creep.
Oh!
Or are you just having an angry, wrong button. I thought you were about to go off about World of Warcraft or something. It's like, the power creep, all my epics means nothing's now because these blues rule the world, which is kind of true.
True. Well, I pushed the button and I didn't know.
Okay. It's okay. I wasn't sure. I'm like, well, if this is either angry or her face rolled on the keyboard in a weird way. Both these things are
my
hand waving.
My pizza plate touched my keyboard in a no place, I guess.
Oh no. To be fair, I actually thought that was a very decent campaign. That whole "don't touch me in my no square." It's like, if you're going to communicate something, you can make fun of it. It's be like, oh, it's corny as heck. I'm like, no, don't harm children. Yes.
I used to call it the danger zone before that became a thing. I always called it the danger zone.
People associate that with positive things. Yeah, probably don't want. Yeah, just.
It's
Well, the danger
danger.
zone, kind of. It's like you are in the song. That's a song,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay, I feel like it's a positive, uplifting song. I don't want to connect that to the harming of children. I'll take note
Oh,
elsewhere. Wait,
no,
what?
no. I call it a danger zone on me specifically.
Oh, yeah, yeah. No comment.
There's
But
there's a story. There's actually a story behind it, but it doesn't match my lore. So, Piper will have to tell the story. It's about Piper.
oh, okay. So, since this is mostly
It's
a
funny.
fantasy show,
It's
we don't
kind of
need to delve
wholesome.
into.
Ish. Yeah.
Okay, yes, the highway to the danger zone. There we go. But okay, so as far as all right, some elements maybe they're prime, maybe the spaceship, maybe the history eraser button, or some form of a history erase button is literally a prime element within our reality. Do I have any evidence for that? Not at all. But within the Ren and Stimpy verse, it's like, all right, does that mean that history? What if there was more of a lag time? Because I could also assume that it just fries observers like us, and then it decomposes everything else. Kind of like what was it in Breaking Bad when they had to dispose of the body? He tells Jesse to to get the acid and make sure you put it in this type of plastic tub. He did not put it in the precise plastic tub. He put it in the bathtub. Apparently, that was not a good chemical thing. Basically, that was the point where the bathtub and everything in it just like literally just went straight through the floor, and you have this half melted corpse literally just go everywhere. And you're like, that's why containers matter.
Mm. Sometimes you need to discriminate between your materials.
Yeah. Oh my god, I actually forgot why I was making that analogy for a second. I just
I,
literally went from something to like corpse explosion and not in a Diablo way. Oh god. Oh yeah. Things okay, the history eraser button, okay, fleshy beings like announcers, cats and dogs apparently might be easier to erase than the physical material. Because it did start to erase them on their banner, which technically maybe that was fleshier and meteor on the banner, and maybe the rest of everything was getting ready to be deleted. We do not have evidence for that. That is rampant conjecture. I can neither confirm nor deny that everything else within the Ren Stimpy verse was deleted. They did have more episodes after that, because the first time they did the thing on the banner, I'm like, all right, that's the first time I've ever seen them do that. I'm like, is the show on next week? I think it was on the. They had episodes after Space Madness, right? Because wouldn't that just beat all of Space Madness, Ren and Stimpy? Let's see. Ren and Stimpy
it would be funny if it was the last
episodes.
episode on Nickelodeon, though.
I did. Oh my god! It had 5 seasons.
Yeah.
Oh my god! I remember having a couple. Okay, Space. Yes. Okay, so it was episode 3 of Space Madness. There was an episode 4. Wow, what was the last episode? Do I even remember this? Did they do it on? I don't know. School meets dinner party. Okay, no, I think I may have actually watched most all of these because the furthest I can remember. Let's go to the Googles. I was a teenage Stimpy. Isn't that when Stimpy goes through puberty, or is that another episode? Uh, uh, uh. Oh, I watched the bellhop episode. Oh yeah, he's stuck. Where was it? I was a teen. Yes. All right. Stimpy enters his teams. That was the last episode. The Last Temptation. Ren has
Very
near
short
experiences.
episode.
It has shown the error of his ways. Why do I think he doesn't learn? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe actually we need to go watch that now. It's been a long time. God, it's been like 20, 25 years. What was this? Oh my God.
I
96?
should have seen them all.
If they were on Nickelodeon, I'd probably watch all of them.
Uh-oh.
Once they finished. It started in.
So I need to figure out if this is my internet.
You're not able to do other things, or
No, everything seems to be working fine except this stream. So I'm trying to figure out if I'm the one with lag or the stream is the one with lag.
I'm seeing you lagging there, but it's all right. Rick has a good idea, and it's very simple.
Do. What rolls downstairs over and bears rolls over your neighbor's dog? What's great for a snack and fits on your back? It's log, log, log.
It's log, log. It's big, it's heavy, it's good.
Maybe
It's
what-
log,
It's
log.
log,
It's better than that. It's good.
better than that. It's good. Come on and get your log. Everybody needs a log. Come on and get your log. Everyone needs a
Come on
log.
and get your
Come on,
log.
get your log.
Everyone needs a log. Come on and get your log. Everyone needs a log. Log from Blammo.
Yeah, blammo. Powdered
Yeah,
toast
yeah.
man. Yak shaving day. Man,
Remind
I've
me
seen
to tell
all
you
of
some things
Isle
after
of
the
Ren
show.
and
That's
Stimpy.
not any hero wearing spandex that flies somewhere backwards and occasionally at perpendicular angles just because it's the easiest way to change things up with the sprite in the in your background. I'm starting to realize a lot of these shows from the past, they were actually animated really well.
Roboting because
I don't know if it's just
on Twitch.
Are you logged into multiple
I gotta figure out how to
places?
stream a game on this. No, it changed
Oh.
internet provider and it only gave us one Ethernet outlet, and
They just went to the modem
I'm
or something like that.
running on Wi-Fi right now because yeah.
They didn't
Today I'm
give you
running
more
on
cables.
Wi-Fi and everything was running good until this stream, which has me worried. Nope, they didn't give us more
Ah.
places to plug the cables. And someone else, because they said they could only install this in my room in here. So the other person that needs the internet on their computer has got one bar for their freaking signal. So they're plugged in now for the Ethernet cable since I'm right next to the thing. And I've got all my bars, but it looks like it's not handling streaming so great. Mistakes might have been made. I'm having regrets.
Yeah, it's never happened with a cable company. I say this as somebody
fiber
that's
company.
totally the fiber company. Oh.
Yeah, cable company was
Yeah,
like,
so
please
that
don't
means the
leave us.
internet
And
should
I
be even better.
was like, right? Exactly.
Maybe
It was
maybe you could try.
when I was plugged into the Ethernet.
So here's what you should do. You should do like for Taco Bell and try to get a job with them. In order to get you to leave them alone, they'll probably fix the internet.
Ooh.
I mean, that's just a random speculation. I have no idea if that would work or not, but all right.
I got an
Even though
Ethernet
I'm about-
splitter. An Ethernet splitter that's supposed to come tomorrow, so that we can both be plugged in instead of Wi-Fi'd. But
Wi-Fi.
I am pretty upset.
Why tied?
White-eyed. White-hearted.
Oh no! We're going to hell. So Fizz, what do you got going on today? Thank you, Fizz.
I'm gonna try to finish Diablo.
Let's put the lagging wolf girl right up there and everything. Watch, he's in the middle of lagging. There you go. You're not lagging. Continue.
Oh, God damn it! I finished Diablo. I finished Diablo this evening, assuming the internet allows me to. On Twitch.
Oh,
I
this was
hopefully finish. You know, I
D2.
might just get my butt kicked the whole time and not finish. But the goal is to maybe finish.
I mean, that would be pretty ideal. You can actually finish the whole game. All right,
Yeah.
folks, we've got the links to Fizz and roommate Piper's stuff and things. It's in the doobly doo, or it's us in the stuff over there now. Feel free to go bother Fizz over on the Twitches as well, because YouTube loves seeing links to all those different things, and because it's kind of like Twitter loves when you post links there and stuff like that. It's like
Yeah,
you
I don't
don't
even
want
advertise
off-site
on my
stuff and
Twitter
things there.
anymore. When I go live, it won't let me post the link to my Twitch
You
specifically.
So
Yeah.
do you do the screenshot? Because normally what you're supposed to do the screen, do whatever thumbnail you're supposed to have, and then post it in the comment below. So with
Yeah.
that person, the person needs to click on the thing, so they're still on site, and then they go down, then they go off sites, because that at least it counts as engagement. Which I mean, isn't really the most unreasonable thing.
That's what it used to let me do. It used to let me do that, and then it stopped letting me do that.
So this was after your account was hacked. While people are still paying for the blue check mark thingy at the time, and that literal information where it's like, here are bank statements, and it's like, can
Proof
I just
that
pause my
the
account
account-
and stuff? See, those are the
Still
things
like,
where
no,
it's like,
we can't.
I think.
You don't have enough proof. We can't help you.
So I'm waiting for the day where whatever legislation goes through, and the internet companies need to have a telephone number, like where you can actually talk to human beings. And I'm sure nobody
they
would
need
ever. I'm just saying you should have the ability to do things, because it's like, what do you just do? Just scream on the internet and just like soothe people and stuff like that? I mean, oh my God. I'm sure there's no class action lawsuits or anything in the works. I'm not an attorney. I'm a dude on the internet just ranting and raving. Thank you for joining Lug, Rick, Chairman, all the other folks here now, and maybe to pebble poorly in the future. I swear I can occasionally talk, but Fizz, parting words?
I thought you was glitching.
I'm broken. You broke me. Oh no. Oh dear. You guys? You guys! I just want to hunt some gold!
Oh, I should probably end the thing. I wasn't sure if you were going to lag you on words. Okay.